This video follows the construction of a luxury A-frame house with a swimming pool in the mountains of Azerbaijan. But there's one detail that makes this project different from most modern builds. The entire project is being planned and executed by a civil engineer with years of real-world construction experience. Building a house is never simple. Building one on mountainous terrain is an entirely different challenge. Every decision matters. The foundation, the structure, the drainage, and even the position of the house have to work with the landscape rather than against it. The goal is ambitious, a modern A-frame design, panoramic mountain views, a private swimming pool, and a finished home that blends comfort, architecture, and nature into a single project. Right now, none of that exists. There is only an empty site, a vision, and a long road ahead. Every great building begins with a foundation, and in a project like this, there's no room for mistakes. Before a single wall can rise from the ground, a reinforced concrete slab is carefully prepared. Beneath the surface lies a dense grid of steel reinforcement, designed to distribute loads evenly across the structure and provide the strength needed to support the future A-frame house. Then comes the concrete. The first rows of masonry blocks are carefully positioned along guide strings stretched across the slab. This is the most important part of the entire masonry process. If it's level and properly aligned, everything that follows becomes easier. If it isn't, mistakes can multiply with every new row. As the walls continue to rise, another important structural element is added. A reinforced concrete bond beam is cast along the top of the masonry walls, tying the entire structure together into a single unit. Hidden inside is steel reinforcement designed to distribute loads evenly and improve the building's resistance to movement over time. The massive A-frame structure is still to come. When the roof begins transferring its weight into the walls, that load needs a strong and stable path to the foundation. The bond beam helps provide exactly that, preventing individual wall sections from moving independently under stress. With the walls ready, attention turns to the feature that gives this house its identity. The A-frame structure. Massive timber beams are brought to the site and carefully prepared for installation. But before they can be lifted into position, every connection has to be engineered to handle enormous loads. That's where the steel plates come in. Unlike conventional houses, an A-frame relies heavily on its geometry. The entire structure transfers loads through a series of angled members working together as one system. That means there's very little room for error. Once the massive timber sections are standing several meters above the ground, corrections become far more difficult. There's a reason A-frame homes remain so popular decades after they first appeared. The steep triangular design naturally sheds rain and snow, performs well in mountainous climates, and creates dramatic interior spaces with high vaulted ceilings. At the same time, the large front facade makes it possible to install expansive glazing and capture panoramic views of the surrounding landscape. This is where engineering meets craftsmanship. Every A-frame beam is connected to the foundation using custom steel brackets designed to keep the structure locked firmly in place. This is one of the most critical points in the entire house. Strong mountain winds, the weight of the roof, and years of structural movement will all pass through these anchors. That's why nothing is left to chance. The triangular frames alone aren't enough. To transform individual frames into a single building, a series of horizontal beams is installed between them. These members lock the structure together, preventing the frames from moving independently. At the same time, something else begins to happen. The future interior starts to reveal itself. One of the biggest challenges of A-frame houses is the sloped walls. While they create dramatic interiors, they can also reduce usable space near the edges. By extending certain areas with steel-supported sections, the builders gain extra room without sacrificing the iconic shape of the house. And that extra space will be put to good use. Luxury mountain retreats are no longer judged by architecture alone. Guests expect comfort, functionality, and amenities that transform a short stay into a memorable experience. With the steel framework taking shape, the future layout becomes easier to imagine. Rooms become larger. The floor plan becomes more practical. Steel is the perfect material for the job. It can span longer distances, carry heavy loads, and create open spaces with fewer support columns. That flexibility gives the designer more freedom when planning luxury features in comfortable living areas. Piece by piece, the skeleton of the house grows stronger. And slowly, the structure transforms from a collection of individual frames into a complete structural system. But even the strongest design depends on proper execution. Every beam must be aligned, every connection must be secured, every angle must match the engineer's calculations. Once water finds its way into a structure, problems can begin quickly. Moisture can reduce insulation performance, damage finishes, and shorten the lifespan of structural components. That's why modern buildings rely on multiple protective layers rather than a single barrier. For now, the timber frame remains visible, but not for long. The membrane marks the transition from structural work to enclosure. The house is no longer just being built. It is beginning to shield itself from the outside world. Over the weatherproof membrane, a grid of wooden battens is installed across the entire roof structure. These simple-looking strips do much more than hold the future roofing material in place. They create an air gap. The choice of roofing matters. An A-frame design exposes a much larger portion of its exterior to the weather than a conventional house. Rain, snow, wind, and intense sunlight all strike the roof directly. In fact, the roof isn't just protecting the house, it is the house. That's why durability is critical. The next challenge is creating the loft floor, a feature that adds valuable living space without increasing the building's footprint. In compact vacation homes, smart use of vertical space can make a remarkable difference. A well-designed loft creates room for sleeping, relaxing, or simply enjoying a different perspective of the interior below. Progress comes through dozens of smaller tasks happening across the site at the same time. A successful build is not only about the big milestones everyone notices, it's also about the countless small decisions that happen in between. A beautiful view may attract guests, but comfort is what makes them stay. With the structure protected from the weather, attention now turns to insulation. Thick layers of thermal insulation are fitted between the timber framing, creating a barrier that will separate the cozy interior from the changing mountain climate outside. This step is more important than many people realize. No luxury retreat is complete without a place to cool off on a hot summer day. Another important feature is taking shape below it, the swimming pool. Construction starts with an excavated pit, followed by a dense grid of reinforcing steel. This steel skeleton will soon become the backbone of a structure designed to hold thousands of liters of water. And a pool is more than just an extra amenity. For many guests, it's one of the first things they notice when browsing vacation rentals. A private pool can transform a simple getaway into a memorable experience, giving visitors another reason to choose one property over hundreds of others. Beneath the dense network of reinforcing steel, the builders carefully install the plumbing that will keep the pool running for years to come. Pipes for circulation, filtration, drainage, and water return are positioned exactly where they need to be before they disappear forever inside the structure. It may look like a maze of steel and pipework now, but every component serves a purpose. Before a single drop of concrete can be poured, every detail hidden beneath the water has to be planned in advance. Unlike the house, where systems can often be accessed later, a swimming pool leaves very little room for mistakes. Once the concrete is in place, changing anything becomes difficult and expensive. That's why this stage is so important. The best pools aren't just designed to hold water, they're designed to move it, filter it, and keep it crystal clear season after season. And once everything is checked and secured, the project will finally be ready for one of its biggest milestones yet, the concrete pour. There's a reason circular pools are so captivating. Without corners to interrupt the view, the eye naturally follows the curve, creating a softer and more elegant appearance. The result often feels less like a traditional swimming pool and more like a natural centerpiece within the landscape. From above, the design is already easy to recognize. Building a circular pool is far more demanding than building a rectangular one. Every curve must remain perfectly consistent while resisting the enormous pressure created by wet concrete. That's why the formwork is reinforced from every direction, creating a temporary structure strong enough to hold the shape until the concrete cures. Before the pool can be finished, every surface is coated with a specialized waterproofing primer. For even greater protection, a waterproofing membrane is then applied over the entire structure. Together, these layers create a protective barrier that prevents water penetration and helps shield the concrete from long-term damage. The steel-framed room is designed to be surrounded by glass, creating an open space where the mountain views remain visible from every angle. Unlike traditional extensions that can feel separated from the outdoors, this design is intended to do the opposite. The large glass panels will fill the space with natural light while maintaining an uninterrupted connection to the surrounding landscape. Floor-to-ceiling glazing is installed across the front of the A-frame, transforming the open structure into a bright and welcoming living space. For a mountain retreat, that connection is especially important. Instead of looking at walls, future guests will be greeted by changing skies, natural light, and views of the surroundings throughout the day. With the exterior shell taking shape, attention shifts back inside. Before the interior can be finished, all of the hidden systems that make a house comfortable and functional need to be put in place. Once these systems disappear behind finished walls, they become the invisible infrastructure that allows the entire house to function for years to come. Not every part of a house is built for practicality. Some features are built for a feeling. This is one of them. As work continues throughout the house, a traditional brick fireplace begins to take shape in the center of the main living area. At first glance, it may seem like just another construction task. A few bricks, a bit of mortar, nothing extraordinary, but fireplaces have always been different. For centuries, people naturally gathered around fire. It provided warmth, light, and comfort long before modern heating systems existed. And surprisingly, that connection still exists today. Warmth is only part of the story. Atmosphere matters too. Months from now, guests may not notice the wiring hidden behind the walls. They may never think about the insulation above the ceiling, but they will remember this. A quiet evening, the sound of crackling wood, the mountains outside. Building a fireplace like this requires much more than simply stacking bricks. The firebox must be able to withstand years of intense heat and constant temperature changes. That is why heat-resistant bricks are used in the areas exposed directly to the fire. Precision matters. Even small inaccuracies can affect how the fireplace performs, how efficiently it burns, and how safely it operates over time. Comfort is not created by walls alone. Much of it is hidden beneath your feet. Before the final flooring can be installed, a network of heating pipes is carefully laid across the entire floor. This system is known as radiant floor heating. No visible radiators, no cold corners. Instead, heat rises evenly from the floor itself, creating a more comfortable indoor environment. And there is another advantage. Because warm air is distributed more evenly throughout the room, radiant floor heating often operates more efficiently than traditional heating systems. That can mean lower energy consumption and a more consistent temperature throughout the house. Especially in a mountain climate, once the concrete is poured, these pipes will disappear completely from view. Concrete is poured over the system, embedding the entire network beneath the floor. Soon, it will disappear completely, out of sight, but not out of purpose. This layer acts as a thermal mass, absorbing heat from the pipes and releasing it gradually throughout the room. Now comes the outer skin of the building, the facade cladding. At first glance, these panels may seem like a purely aesthetic choice, but their role goes far beyond appearance. They create an additional barrier against wind and moisture, while protecting the layers beneath from long-term exposure to the elements. With the exterior shell largely complete, the focus gradually shifts indoors. The work enters an entirely different phase. Until this point, almost every task has been about structure, strength, stability, protection from the elements. Now, the attention turns to the spaces people will actually live in. Every room begins to take shape, one by one. Walls are plastered. Tile work is underway throughout the house. Upstairs, the construction follows a different approach. The upper level is built around a timber structure. That requires a different layering system. First, plywood panels are fixed to the framing, adding rigidity and creating a solid base. Then comes the drywall. The structure of the pool is now complete. What remains is turning raw concrete into a finished surface. Unlike flat floors or straight walls, a circular pool introduces a different challenge. Every tile must follow a continuous curve. That may sound simple. In reality, it demands exceptional precision. Every swimming pool is built with carefully calculated slopes that guide the water toward the main drain. Without them, water would stagnate in certain areas. Creating those slopes requires precision. Only after that work is complete can the finishing stage begin. Unlike large ceramic tiles, glass mosaics can easily follow complex curves without disrupting the overall pattern. That's exactly why they're so widely used in swimming pools. Each sheet contains dozens of small individual tiles, allowing the surface to bend naturally while maintaining consistent spacing between every joint. Every sheet must align perfectly with the previous one, creating the illusion of one continuous surface. When the pool is complete, most people will notice only the color, the deep blue water, the smooth curved walls. Few will realize that those clean lines are only possible because thousands of small tiles work together to follow a single, perfect circle. Building a swimming pool isn't only about concrete, waterproofing, or finishes. Just as important is everything hidden behind the walls. Clean water doesn't happen by chance. Behind every clear swimming pool is a filtration system working around the clock. At the heart of that system is the filter. As water passes through it, tiny particles become trapped between the grains, removing dirt, dust, leaves, and other suspended debris before the water returns to the pool. The process is surprisingly effective. The result isn't just cleaner water, it's safer water. For an A-frame house, these large floor-to-ceiling glass surfaces do far more than bring in natural light. They become part of the architecture itself. Instead of separating the interior from its surroundings, they visually connect the living space with the landscape beyond. One by one, the glass panels are lifted into position. Each one is carefully aligned, millimeter by millimeter. Once installed, the transformation is immediate. Spaces that once felt enclosed suddenly open up. Natural light reaches deep into the interior. Construction doesn't end with the house. The landscape matters just as much. It shapes the first impression. And over time, it shapes the experience of living here. Evergreens with seasonal plants are a good decision, as they continue doing their job through every season. They soften the architecture and filter the views. Few things compare to ending the day in a warm whirlpool bath while looking out at the landscape beyond the glass. Features like this are never added by accident. They are planned long before the first walls are built. Because the best spaces don't simply fit inside a house. They are designed around the way people want to live. Then come the fixtures, the final pieces that bring the entire system together. The details people notice only take a few minutes to install. Everything that makes them work has already taken weeks. Paint has a habit of revealing everything. Even the smallest imperfection can become visible once sunlight begins moving across the walls. That's why so much time is invested before a single drop of paint is applied. Every joint is blended, every transition is smoothed, every surface is checked again and again until it appears completely seamless. In an A-frame house, the staircase does far more than connect two floors. It becomes part of the architecture itself. The slim frame keeps the structure visually light, while the solid timber treads introduce warmth and natural texture. Open riser staircases also let daylight pass freely through them, making even compact interiors feel brighter and more spacious. Good design rarely depends on one spectacular element. More often, it's the result of dozens of thoughtful decisions working together. And when they do, even something as ordinary as a staircase becomes one of the most memorable parts of the home. The floor does more than complete a room. In most homes, flooring simply fills the space. Here, it quietly guides the attention toward the landscape outside. But a home is shaped by far more than what we see beneath our feet. As the finishing work continues, another layer of the interior begins to take its place: the doors. There comes a point in every construction project when progress becomes less about adding new structures and more about bringing every detail into harmony. Little by little, the atmosphere begins to change. And perhaps that's the most satisfying transformation of all. Not when the house is finally built, but when it finally begins to feel like home. Good interior design is rarely about filling empty space. In fact, the opposite is often true. Every piece of furniture has to earn its place, balancing comfort, functionality, and proportion without making the room feel crowded. That's especially important in modern vacation homes, where every square meter is expected to work harder than in a traditional residence. Few spaces in a home demand more careful planning than the kitchen. By the time the cabinets begin to take their place, most of the important decisions have already been made. Electrical wiring, plumbing, ventilation, and appliance connections all have to align perfectly with the layout, leaving very little room for error during installation. The goal isn't simply to create a beautiful kitchen, but to make every element work together as one functional system. That's what separates a well-designed kitchen from an ordinary one. Like the rest of the house, the best design is often the one you hardly notice. Furniture is what finally gives each space its purpose. Until now, every room has been little more than an empty volume defined by walls, windows, and light. But as each piece is assembled, those spaces begin to reveal how they were always intended to be used. A living room becomes a place to gather. A bedroom becomes a place to rest. A dining area begins to invite conversation. The same room can feel open and energetic during the day, then warm and intimate after sunset, simply through the thoughtful placement of light. That's why modern homes rely on multiple layers of illumination rather than a single ceiling fixture. Ambient lighting creates atmosphere, task lighting improves functionality, and accent lighting draws attention to the architectural details. Hard surfaces give a house its structure, but textiles give it comfort. They soften the acoustics, reduce the sharpness of empty rooms, and bring warmth into spaces defined by glass, timber, and clean modern finishes. Curtains also control natural light, adding privacy when needed without removing the connection to the landscape outside. The landscape is about to receive its final shape. Before a single paving stone can be laid, the ground must first be properly compacted. Without a stable foundation, even the highest quality paving can begin to settle, shift, or crack over time. At the same time, concrete curbs are formed to define the planting areas throughout the property. Not all paving is designed the same way. Interlocking shapes distribute loads more evenly across the surface, helping the pavement resist movement over time. When properly installed on a well-compacted base, they create a stronger and more stable walking surface, while allowing individual pieces to be replaced if maintenance is ever needed. Every home has a story. Most people only ever see the final result. The finished rooms, the clean lines, the reflections in the glass, the perfectly still water in the pool. But behind every completed home are thousands of decisions, countless hours of craftsmanship, and people who patiently transform drawings into places where life will eventually unfold. Years from now, no one will remember how many hours were spent perfecting every detail. Instead, the empty rooms will fill with conversation. Sunlight will mark the passing seasons across the floors. Ordinary evenings will slowly turn into memories that no blueprint could ever predict. Yet, no matter how carefully a house is built, construction is only the beginning. The true story starts the moment someone walks through the front door for the very first time. That's the remarkable thing about architecture. It provides the setting, but life is what gives it meaning. For the builders, this is where the journey ends. For the home, it's where the real story begins. In the end, the greatest homes are never defined by the way they were built, but by the lives they make possible. If you enjoyed this story, more remarkable construction projects are on the way. Subscribe to Macarium, stay tuned for the next build, and share your ideas in the comments. We might bring one of them to life in a future video.